Welcome to another edition of Porter's Estate Agents, tips for landlords and tenants. Now, one of the most regular things we get asked about is who's responsible for gardens? Is it down to the landlord? Is it down to the tenant? Well, listen over the next few minutes and hopefully we'll answer those questions for you. So one of the most important things is to make sure that the garden is included on the inventory. A professional inventory is worth its weight in gold at check-in and also at checkout. So generally a tenant is only responsible to maintain the garden. So a landlord really can't expect a tenant to make improvements to the garden during the term of the tenancy. In addition, tenants can't be expected to perform tasks that really do require a degree of expertise, such as tree pruning. So if you had a large tree such as the one in the background here, unless you're a tree surgeon, you shouldn't be expected to prune that. If it's one of these little cypress conifers, then yes, a tenant could be expected to do that. So general tenant responsibilities include mowing the lawn, keeping paths and flower beds weed-free, maintaining any low-hanging shrubs, and really importantly, disposing of any garden rubbish that may accumulate. Social events such as barbecues and parties are allowed in the garden unless specifically mentioned and restricted within the tenancy agreement. But tenants must remember that they have a social responsibility to clear up any mess and not to cause annoyance to any of their neighbours. Again, these clauses will form part of the tenancy agreement. If the tenants want to make any changes to the garden, and this also includes installing their own plants, installing their own pathways, then they must of course get written agreement from the landlord. This also is covered within the tenancy agreement. If a tenant doesn't obtain permission, then the landlord can, of course, make good any changes at the tenant's expense at the end of the tenancy. In a recent deposit case, the tenant had erected a shed, let's call it a summer house, and left it behind at the end of the tenancy. Now, the landlord didn't want this shed, and it went to dispute, and the adjudicator found in the landlord's favour. The cost of £1,800 was deducted from the tenant's deposit to remove and make good the garden to its original state. So in conclusion, make sure you have a professional inventory that actually includes the garden and has photos of the condition of the garden when the tenancy commences. So therefore, at the checkout, the clerk can compare like for like and make any professional qualifications and recommendations. Let's also be sensible though. If you're renting a family home and the tenant's got two young boys playing football, is the grass going to be returned in immaculate condition? Probably not. So sometimes take a view as well. Thank you for watching and keep your eye open for more tips from Porter's Estate Agents.